This is DRF Race of the Day.
Hi everybody, Mike Beer here with Sunday's DRF Race of the Day. We're going out to Santa Anita because they have a graded stakes race out there on Sunday for the 3-year-old fillies. The Grade 3 Santa Isabel is going to go as race number 4, and it is your DRF Race of the Day for Sunday. Let's take a look at this field. Only 5 3-year-old fillies have entered the Santa Isabel. 3 of them trained by Bob Baffert. So, we're going to have to see how this all plays out. Baffert does have the morning line favorite there. Number 4, Calypso, is your 8-5 morning line favorite. But in a race like this where it feels like there's probably not that much separation, at least among the main contenders, it doesn't feel like anybody could be too short of a price. But we'll see how the wagering goes. I suppose if Calypso does indeed go favored, it'll be because of this. Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector, because Timeform doesn't find a lot of speed in this race. It's pretty difficult to argue with that. We'll see. Calypso is certainly a horse who has flaunted her speed in basically all of her starts so far. Timeform US thinks that she'll get loose here in a race shape that favors horses on or near the early lead. We'll see if that's the case. She does have one of her stablemates, at least it would feel like, the 3 Heels Up, who the pace projector places a distant second at the pace call. Heels Up is a horse who could certainly show speed in here. She's making her 3-year-old debut off the layoff. She has only sprinted so far in her career. 3 starts last year as a 2-year-old, all of them sprinting. Broke her maiden by a nose at Santa Anita back at the end of September. Tried a stakes race after that and wasn't good enough. We'll see. She should be fresh off the layoff. I doubt these 2 horses are going to go out there and hook up on some kind of fast pace, but Heels Up could go forward in here. We'll see how the pace all plays out. I guess that is Calypso's advantage, however. If she's going to get loose on the lead, it makes her dangerous in here. Personally, at a short price, just based on her races that she's run so far, she's not the kind of horse I would necessarily want a short price. Maybe she will just wire this field. But just going back to her most recent start, which was the second time they went around 2 turns with her, she got loose on the lead that day, took no pressure at all, was really no match when the eventual winner of that race came to challenge her at the top of the stretch, and she held on for second. I didn't even necessarily think, outside of the winner, I didn't even necessarily think Calypso was the horse that you wanted to take out of that race last time, but we'll get to the other horse exiting the Las Virgenes in a minute. Calypso can win this race. As the favorite in the race, I would be looking to try to beat her. Down towards the inside is a long shot in A Real Hero. No match for Maraz, who's also in this field. 2 starts back in a maiden race. They took her up to Golden Gate Fields last time, ran her over that synthetic track up there, and she got the job done to break her maiden. She's going to put blinkers on for a very good trainer. We'll see what this horse does. Flavian Pratt's going to take the return call here. This horse could improve and will have to. The number 2 is Beautiful Gift, one of 3 for trainer Bob Baffert in here. This is a very dangerous horse, in my opinion, in this race. She is also off the layoff here, making her 3-year-old debut. 2 starts last year. They debuted her sprinting at Del Mar on Labor Day weekend. Just sort of looked like a situation. She finished behind Calypso that day, but a situation where she just did not look like a horse who wanted to sprint at all, and that's not that surprising. She's by Medalla d'Oro, out of a mare by AP Indy. She's bred to go long. 5.5 furlongs seemed way too short for her. She was under a ride basically throughout the race. I actually felt like she stayed on pretty well there to the finish, even though she was no threat. Stretched her right out, Baffert did, for her second start in October. Let's take a look at the replay right now. I thought she ran really well in this race. Only a 4-horse field. And she just took a sort of 3-wide tracking trip around the track. They didn't really ask her for too much early, but she was sort of keeping pace on her own as the runner-up, who was another Baffert horse, cut the pace down towards the rail. I like what Beautiful Gift did, though. She chased that horse around the second turn and just stayed very gamely from the top of the stretch. You see her at the end of that race. They're closing her stablemate down. I thought she did it relatively well within herself there. A nice step forward to a 75 buyer. She's off the layoff here. Could easily have developed further during her downtime. Comes back in a spot where it doesn't look like she's found the toughest field in the world. I think Beautiful Gift is going to be very tough in this race. Heels Up, we touched on. Could easily improve, has to prove that she wants to stretch out, has to work out the right trip in this race. She looked like perhaps the least likely of the 3 Bafferts to win, but maybe she takes a step forward just because Calypso, who we already touched on, I'm just not a big fan of her races. Obviously, she can win at a short price. I'd be trying to beat her, and the horse that I would try to beat her with is the 5 Maraz. We're going to see what Maraz does here. Her second career start is the video that I sent in. I want to take a look at her maiden breaker right now. This is a 2-turn mile back in early January. She got a very good trip in this race. I just liked everything that she did in here. She was forward away, but perfectly content to take a tracking trip off of the leaders, just sitting clear in third, a really nice trip. Came right by them, 3 wide on the second turn, ran right by to the front in there. You can see her through the stretch on a big lead and just ridden out all the way. Really nice performance in there. She came back in her next start. They tried the Las Virgenes with her. She did finish behind Calypso that day, but I feel like, and maybe that's the replay I ultimately should have sent in to take a look at for this race, because Calypso was loose on the lead in there and just wasn't nearly good enough. Maraz, she didn't come with any kind of super big finish in there. I just didn't necessarily care for the trip she got. They put her in behind Calypso on the lead, and she was just stuck in there the entire way. Briefly tried to look up the rail at the top of the stretch. She couldn't get through down there, and then altered course. Just finished evenly after that, but I just didn't care for the tripper ride that she got last time. She's drawn outside now. She's got plenty of speed to keep close. I like each of her last 2 races, so that's where I'm going to go. In Sunday's race of the day, the grade 3 out at Santa Anita, the Santa Isabel. I want Maraz on top. The only other horse for me really is Baffert's, is the one of the Baffert's, the number 2, Beautiful Gift. I went 5-2, 4-3. Sunday's DRF race of the day out at Santa Anita. Comes early, race number 4. It's a grade 3. Good luck.